In 2000, Sony entered the new millennium by releasing the PlayStation 1. The PS1 was a redesigned, slimmer, smaller, cuter version of the first PlayStation, and marked the first time that Sony would release a redesign for any of their PlayStation consoles, which, ever since, every single PlayStation has had at least one redesign. In 2004, the Slim branding would be added to Sony's PS2 redesign, and in 2011, the PS3 Super Slim released, and ever since then there's been 3 PlayStation models for every generation. So, when the PS5 Pro was announced on September 10th, 2024, people probably wished that it stayed at 2. The PS5 Pro was recently announced, and is one of the most baffling console announcements of all time. I seriously cannot find one person who thinks the price of the system is worth it. In fact, I could find more people arguing that the $500 MSRP for the base PS5 isn't even worth it, especially since it's generally agreed upon that the only exclusive that makes the system worthwhile is a 3D platformer that came out late this year.
That 30th anniversary edition, though.
You would drop $700 on a system just because it looks like an actually good console.
If that's what he wants, let him be.
Yeah, let idiots be idiots.
What the hell is your problem?
We did that in the 1930s, and look where that got us. World
Shut
War
up. Shut up.
II.
If he wants to buy the PS5 Pro, I don't think that's a big deal. I think you just need to change your perspective.
I think we need to change this goddamn room. I don't think we need that. I think we're fine.
Nah, we're changing this.
Okay, well, as long as I get a say.
Well, at the very least, they're generous to let me wear a sweater. Well, whatever. Back to where I left off.
I'm all for mid-gen refreshes, but Sony focused on the wrong thing here, putting graphics over performance. The CPU is the exact same on both the Pro and the base model, which means that if a game runs at 30 FPS on the PS5 due to CPU limitations, it's still going to run at 30 on the Pro. So games are only going to look slightly better, perform slightly better if even applicable, and on top of that, this thing is just ridiculously expensive. $700 for the system? That doesn't even come with the console stand or a disk drive? The regular PS5 comes with both. How the fuck is this a Pro system? The accessories themselves aren't ridiculously expensive, but seriously? This is what you're marketing as the upgraded system?
But Sony didn't just make one useless, really dogshit, stupid redesign for the PS5. There's actually 2.
In 2004, again, the PS2 Slim came out, allowing players to experience the PS2 at a lower price point and a sleek, elegant system that's not much bigger than the cases to the games themselves. In 2009, the PS3 Slim came out, allowing players to experience the PS3 at a much lower price point, even with the subsequent model, the Super Slim, somehow being more expensive. But that really saved Sony's ass halfway through the 7th generation, as they started to pick up a lot more steam, and eventually beat Microsoft at the end of it all. In 2016, the PS4 Slim came out, and you get the point. So in 2023, Sony released the PS5 Slim, and it's literally just another PS5. Like, for a bit when it came out, they were selling both the original and the Slim for the same price. At this point, the Slim completely replaced the original model, which is completely normal for systems actually. That's exactly what the PS3 Slim did. But the PS3 got a significant price cut with that model. The PS5 Slim came out, and it's still $500. Actually, the digital edition got a price increase by $50. And it's not like it's that much smaller. I've seen both in person, and it's not really that much different from the base PS5 in terms of size.
Wow, we moved everything already.
All the games are still on the floor.
I mean, from one side of the room to the other. Come on, let's put these puppies away. Look at this. One 3DS game. He's had that damn system for nearly 2 years now. And only one 3DS game.
I bet he doesn't know anything about it. I know about the 3DS. You know what? I don't think they know about
the new Nintendo 2DS XL. You see, Nintendo isn't innocent when it comes to bad redesigns. They actually, arguably, have more bad redesigns than Sony and Microsoft. The PS5 ones are really the worst ones Sony has. They've been pretty good otherwise, but Nintendo has some pretty bad redesigns. And this one is a little bit divisive. The 2DS XL came out at the absolute wrong time, and to me, that's what's baffling about it. Otherwise, it's a good redesign. I feel like it does a few things right. The design of the system itself is divisive, but I like it. It's sleek, it looks nice, the top screen is glossy, and a lot of people say this looks like a smartphone. It has some of the best special editions of the 3DS line. They go for this embossed design kind of thing where details of the design stick out or sink in. It makes a Minecraft special edition look cool. That's hard to do. Not even Microsoft themselves could do that. The SD card slot is next to the game card, which is way better than the new 3DS, requiring you to remove the back of the system to take out the micro SD card. Unfortunately though, the game card slot, stylus, and speakers are on the front of the system for some reason. It's not gonna kill me, but it's just a weird placement. And the back cameras are on the bottom, with the front camera on the hinge placed so that if the system's closed, you can see it. Not deal breaking, just weird. This thing was announced the day after Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came out, the Switch's best-selling game. The Switch had already seen a pretty successful launch the month prior, so announcing a redesign to a 6-year-old handheld was Nintendo's way of saying, yeah, the 3DS is still going strong, we're not letting go of it. It was released in July of 2017, which was a slow period for Switch releases between Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Super Mario Odyssey. I think the only notable first party was Splatoon 2. But would releasing a new model of a system with an output that's already slowed down really help with that? I think the only thing it has going for it being released in 2017 was that the new 2DS XL was like half the price of the Nintendo Switch, being $150 instead of $300, but the new 3DS XL was only $200. If you wanted a cheaper handheld, you still had the option to get the new 3DS XL, $50 more, but it had more features. And even though I just praised the design of the 2DS XL, the 3DS XL still has a better design.
Okay, just make sure all the consoles work. Dude, look at how small the Wii U is. It's like half the size of the Xbox. Which one? All of them. It's mini. A mini Wii. Dude, what if they did that? 2012's Wii Mini is the most baffling console Nintendo has ever made. The Virtual Boy served more purpose than the Wii Mini. You serve more purpose than the Wii Mini. That's if, you thought you didn't have any purpose in this world. Can I come in yet?
The Wii Mini came out in the test region of Canada.
Their flag is a fucking leaf.
In 2012. After the Wii U. Released everywhere else in 2013, I'm gonna regurgitate opinions I've heard online because they're objectively the correct ones. The Wii Mini should have been an HDMI console with a priority on entertainment. Rokus and Apple TVs and Amazon Fires were the shit at the time. The Wii had Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime on the shop channel. In fact, it could have come pre-installed on the system. This would have been perfect while the Wii U was struggling. A streaming box for the same price as an Apple TV or a Roku that also has a library of so many games you could play.
You would have thought, but no, they didn't do that.
The Wii Mini completely removed all online access. No online multiplayer, no Wii Shop channel, which meant no virtual console or WiiWare, no Wii Connect 24 services like Check Me Out or Everybody Votes. You can't even check the weather, and even though they'd be shut down like a year after the worldwide launch of the Wii Mini, this was still incredibly stupid. Plus, Mario Kart Wii was the pack-in on the system. The game with, arguably, the best online multiplayer on the Wii. I think the worst part of this system was that it was released in 2013 and it didn't even have HDMI. Xbox and PlayStation had already moved away from AV and component. Nintendo had already moved away from it with the Wii U. I really don't see why the Wii Mini had the same video output as the 2006 Wii in 2013. The same year the 8th gen Xbox One and PS4 were released, the Xbox One had 2 HDMI ports.
Hey man, I honestly feel kind of bad for leaving you without your devices, so I figured I'd give you this. Take it. Do you think there's a fucking TV out in the hallway? Figure it out. Fucking ungrateful piece of shit. This doesn't even have AV. I couldn't even use it if I had a TV out here.
But in 1993, Nintendo made a Famicom with AV. The Famicom AV is what they called it. This redesign was so AV. It was the sole focus of their branding. The commercial mentioned it. It was in the name. And then they brought it to the US. If you don't know what you're looking at, the NES Toploader, the American version of the Famicom AV, only has RF out. The sole focus of this redesign in Japan is completely absent here. This isn't just an issue nowadays, this was an issue back then. So people complained to Nintendo that they were able to send their systems in, and Nintendo officially modded some top-loader systems to have AV out. I just don't understand why they didn't have AV out to begin with. That would have made the most sense. But even the Famicom AV has some confusing elements to it. Even though it supported AV out, it didn't come with the cables. Or any cables. Fuck it! The reason is because Nintendo assumed people who were buying the system already owned a Super Famicom, so they could just use the cables for the Super Famicom on the budget system that would make the most sense marketed towards people who couldn't get their hands on a Super Famicom. That's so fucking dumb! Imagine wanting to play Ice Climbers and having to unplug everything from the Super Famicom and plugging it into the Famicom instead of having both plugged in and at most having to swap the AV cables out. But if you already have the Super Famicom, why do you need this? You have the better system already. That sounds weird coming from someone who owns 2 Xbox Ones and an original Xbox, but like, I'm thinking about the average Japanese consumer in 1993. I can't imagine this was in high demand with the already owns the successor crowd. Now yes, I do own 2 Xbox Ones. The one I use to play games is the Xbox One X, a really good redesign. This was the Xbox equivalent to the PS4 Pro at the time. Considering how small the gap between this and the Xbox Series X is, if Yakuza games keep coming out on this thing, I'll keep using my One X, or until GTA 6 comes out, whichever happens first. The other one is my original model Xbox One, which...
Hey, buddy boy. I'm really sorry for the last one. Let me get you something newer. Got it right here. Have fun, or something, you know? Whatever. It's fucking enormous.
Downsize came with the model between the original one and the One X, the One S. The One S is one of the sleekest redesigns ever. It was insane that they got the Xbox One, this behemoth that was being compared to VCRs, down to this chassis. It looks way better than the original model, and it supported 4K resolution and HDR output. This, by all accounts, is a fabulous redesign, so why am I talking about it? Well, in 2019, it was clear to Microsoft that physical games were on their way out. Most of Xbox's consumer base was buying digital. Most gamers in general were digital consumers. So they released a new model of the Xbox One S. I'll let you spot the difference between the two. God fuck, you're too fucking slow. It's the disc drive. They removed the disc drive. The Xbox One S All Digital Edition, often incorrectly acronymized as the Xbox One SAD, which it should be the Xbox One SAID, is one of the saddest consoles ever, so when you're incorrect, you're sometimes right. That's exactly, literally all they did. Get rid of the disc drive. The only model was 1 terabyte for $249, which was cheaper than the original MSRP for the lowest model of the One S at $299, but the 1 terabyte model with the disc drive was very frequently on sale for $200 or less. At least with the current gen Series S, it's significantly cheaper than the Series X. This is only like $50 cheaper. And it removed your options. It was kind of pointless. I guess if you didn't care about having discs and you just wanted the cheapest game machine, you had the option, but like, it's still kind of dumb. It only lasted over a year, being discontinued in July of 2020.
Sticking with Xbox, though, let's talk about a console that... Wrong chord. Never came out.
Also might be the storm outside.
In a long battle with the Federal Trade Commission over the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, internal documents from Xbox came out which detailed their plans over years, including a 9th gen refresh from the company, codenamed Brooklyn. Just like the Burrow, this is the most gentrified console I've ever seen. Good design for an air purifier, but the cylindrical design doesn't fit a console named, you know, Xbox. With 2 terabytes of storage, a new controller, which to be fair was pretty cool and added motion control and haptic feedback, something which is weirdly absent on the Xbox Series controller, and no disc drive. This console was adorably all digital, which adorably you now have to worry about greedy publishers giving you forced updates, loss of games you bought because of expired licenses, removing features, all for a price tag which is the exact same as the regular Series X.
This console, outside of the new controller, would have subtracted more than it would have added, and it would have asked you for the same price. Great redesign.
Right chord.
We did it! Hell yeah!
Nice.
Alright, you can come in now. Whoa! It's completely different. And you got a new TV. What about the old one? You can, I don't know what we're doing with it, actually.
Maybe the real bedroom. Or the friends we made along the way.
Thanks, Lewis. Yeah. Thanks, Lewis. What the fuck?
What?
Dude, what was that for? I don't know how else this would have ended.
Please, dude. Please, I need to go to the emergency room. Dude, it hurts so bad. I think I need to go to the emergency room. Fuck, man.